So I just got done watching uh Flying Ping's, aka Bethany Fry's video called "The Truth About VenturianTale," and the first thing I knew about halfway through was that I need to make a video, and I need I need to give my thoughts on this. There are some things I heard that I just need to talk about. Before I get to them, I'm going to say that um um this was not a scenario or the circumstance that I thought was gonna gonna result in something like this. But I'm gonna say that there's some stuff at the end of this video that is something I've there was something said in the video uh that is kind of related to something that I've been going through and something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And every time I try to talk about it, it just gets brushed aside and I get too nervous to talk about it or share it out there. But after what I heard and and the context that was said, I feel like this might be a good time for me to like uh start talking about it. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for the end of this video because that needs to be its own thing. Because this is just something completely different. But we don't know who VenturianTale is. They're basically because I would imagine that most of you who watch my worship covers and guitar videos, they're not gonna know. They're probably not gonna know much about VenturianTale unless they've seen certain videos of mine. Not sponsored, but basically, VenturianTale is this gaming YouTube channel that's started by four siblings that come out of a Christian family, and they're different than most gamers. Definitely, they don't curse, they don't play violent games. They're pretty clean, and it's pretty safe to assume that they're free for supporting it. And even talk about it like once I think, where they talk about they felt like it was something that God told them to do, and he wanted them to be a cleaning, wait, or a family clean gaming channel because that's something that we don't see a lot. But I guess the first thing I want to say is that I'm kind of relieved that we're hearing about something like this because VenturianTale is one of those YouTube channels that overall it seems like there isn't, like, for the longest time it's felt like their lives don't revolve around any sort of drama, like they don't come off as the people who really go through struggles because they don't really show parts of their lives like that. They've come off as sort of this perfect family and this perfect channel for so long. That's kind of refreshing to see when so many channels already deal with drama. That's refreshing, but at the same time, it's kind of been it's maybe questionable because it's made me feel like um is there never something that goes on in their lives, like 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 is it is it ever difficult for them? And so to hear this and so to hear what was said in the video, it feels horrible to say this, but I'm kind of glad to hear it. I'm kind of glad to hear that this isn't a perfect family and that this isn't a perfect YouTube channel because in the end, that's never going to be a thing. So I'm happy to hear about. So I'm happy to know that there is struggle that goes on. That it's not always easy for them. But at the same time, the struggles is something that I'm definitely going to talk about here, because and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I would encourage you to go watch the video and then come back in an hour to hear my thoughts, because his this needs to be heard, and this needs to be spread. So I'm a fan of VenturianTale. I have been watching them for almost 7.5 years. And I gotta say this right now. It's taken me this long to get to this point, but I gotta say it. I need to. As a fan of this channel, as someone who looks up to this family, as someone who also is a Christian, as someone who believes in God, as someone who believes in the Bible, as someone who believes that Jesus is the Son of God, He's the Messiah and the Savior, and He's the only way that we can be saved from our sins, and we can be accepted into heaven by God. As someone who believes that, and as someone who is a fan, with the stuff that was said in this video, I am severely disappointed. I can't even fathom how disappointed I am feeling right now. I'm almost... No, I am angry at this. This is not acceptable. And the reasons I am disappointed, in regards to Flying Pings / Bethany and Immortal Kyodai / Sierra, if what I heard was correct, and that they're not Christians anymore, if they don't believe in God anymore, the reasons I'm disappointed has nothing to do with that. The reasons I am mad have nothing to do with that. No, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad that they don't want to believe in God anymore, if that is the case. I am mad at what I heard about Venturian, Jordan, and homeless Goomba Isaac's behavior, about how they have dealt with this. I am actually very angry. And that doesn't mean I'm not gonna stop watching. I'm not gonna stop being a fan, because I still admire you guys, and I still love you guys. But as someone who is a fan, as someone who is a Christian like you guys, if you just so happen to see this video, I hope that you don't feel offended. I hope that what I have to say will help open your eyes. That it can inspire you to make a different choice. Because this is going to be less about my thoughts on the actual people, and this is going to be like my response to the beliefs and how I see them. And the biggest one I have to say that is that, can you even call yourself a Christian? Can you even say that God is in your favor? When you say that you can't accept your family because they don't agree with your beliefs. Is it justifiable to disown your sisters because they don't want to be a part of this anymore? Do you believe that Jesus does not care for them anymore? How is this treatment for the family even remotely Christian? Because in the Bible, there are stories where we see families go through circumstances. Or, in the case of the prodigal son, we see cases where kids either step away from the faith or they step away from their families. And things happen, they make bad choices, everything falls apart, they realize they made a mistake, or everything gets worse. In the case of these stories, what happens is we see them end with forgiveness, with acceptance. We see them end with something that's more powerful than a sign of faith. Because regardless of what your faith is, regardless of what your religion is, there is nothing more irreplaceable. There is nothing that could be more valuable than who your family is to you. You can't replace your siblings. You can't replace your brothers or your sisters, your mothers or your fathers, your nieces or nephews, your cousins, your aunts, your grandparents. Regardless of what they believe, there is nothing that could be more important than family. Because they're the closest things you're going to have. They're always going to be the first ones that we are going to run to. It's always going to be your family before anything else. Because that's what you grow up having the most. In most cases, definitely. But I've been around my family for as long as I can remember, and I'm also sheltered, so I know where this is coming from. But it's always bothered me when the upbringings of Christianity is always so strict. When the world is closed off. When the population of the planet is closed off. Where it feels like you can't talk to anybody. But that's never a good case in any of these situations. And it can be difficult when you grow up as an adult and you've been in that sort of situation. I can imagine. It hasn't been that strict for me, but I can only imagine what it does to people psychologically, mentally. And there is stuff that was said in this that I don't mean when I say these things, but when I say these things, I do not want you to get offended by the use of language. I do not want you to get offended by my choice of words. But when I heard these things, I was pissed off. I was just fucking mad. Because I don't know what it means to go through a situation and feel suicidal. That's something I struggle to understand in my life, admittedly. And I have my own thoughts about it. I have my own choice of words that I would use to describe it. What does it even mean to say that suicidal means you're ungrateful? What does that mean? Like, what is that? When I hear about suicidal, I've had friends who've been suicidal. I've lost family members just to suicide. And there's just a great feeling of pain and anxiety that comes out of that. And when you tell them that it means you're ungrateful for the life that God has given you, that is one of the worst things you could say in that situation. It messes up that person's mind. And it makes it worse. It's like when you say those things to someone of that, someone who's going through that, how does that make you a Christian? And what does that mean for the Christian families who will watch you? And they hear of this behavior. When they hear that you're someone who believes in disowning and shunning people because they don't accept your beliefs. Like, I have a sister who also does YouTube videos on here. And I don't know for sure if she is a Christian. She never comes up as someone who shares my faith and wants to talk about faith. And that's never been a problem. Whether she's not a Christian or whether she is, that's not what's important. That doesn't affect my relationship with her. We haven't always had it easy. There have been some times where I thought I would be better off without her. And now she's one of my closest friends. And faith and our beliefs, it's not something we usually talk about. And that's okay. because I'd rather have her as a sister and not believe in God than be forced to make a decision to never speak to her again because she disbelieves. If I'm ever in a position to be on stage or stand anywhere and I'm speaking something or I'm singing a song that is gonna be able to convince someone, make them curious about whether or not they should accept God into their lives, whether they make a choice or not, here's what I believe. It's not my call that they become Christians. I can't make that decision for them. I can't force them to become a believer. It needs to be something that they decide for themselves. It needs to be their decision first and foremost. I can inspire and I can lead people in a direction that gets them there, but I can't decide it for them. And I never want to do it in a way that makes it feel like I'm forcing people. Because if I do that, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna help them find God. It's not gonna help them decide. And we know what the Bible says about these people. We know what the Bible says about certain groups. The Bible said all kinds of stuff about certain people and people's conditions. And when Jesus Christ was on this earth, he gave them a chance. He died and made a way for these people to be saved if they make a choice. But he still loves them. I believe he still loves them, regardless of the choice they make. If he didn't, he wouldn't have done what he did. He wouldn't have died on the cross. So we can believe whatever we want about these people. We can preach whatever we think about them. But they are still human. Other religions are still people. We need to treat them. We need to remember that we're supposed to treat them as people who are worth a damn. Because Jesus Christ can die and say, everyone can be saved. There is hope for everyone. Now, what does that say for us whenever we judge them like this? Whenever we make a choice that says, we can't talk to you because you don't agree with us. What does that say for us when we are called to be Christ-like? In my opinion, that makes us the complete opposite. It makes us the opposite of what we claim to believe. When we treat people like this, when we make the choice to close them out of our lives and say, we're not going to talk to you ever again, rather than remember to accept, remember to forgive, to treat them fair with love and respect. What does that say for us? It says we're the opposite. And this is probably unlikely, but Jordan, Venturian, Homeless Goomba, Isaac, the dad, and maybe Jessica, Javot, if you're involved in this too. If by somehow you're watching this video, I hope that this only opens your eyes and it encourages you. I hope that it encourages you to make a different choice. To remember who your sisters are to you, regardless of your faith. You can't replace them. You can't treat them like this when they're one of the only things you've ever had. You can't do that. They're inseparable in what they represent in your life. And I hope, I pray, that you would find the hearts to make this right before you even make a decision related to YouTube or social media. But so far, it seems like you're doing a good job of that. But with this time off, you need to learn your values. You need to find what your family means to you. And there's some stuff that I was going to talk about, and I forgot about some of them. I'm forgetting some of the stuff that was said, but here's something else I want to say. As someone else who was also sheltered. As someone else who was raised in a Christian home and was diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and stuttering, who for the majority of his life was at home. I know how difficult it is to go through some of these things. I've been in situations where I got thrown into situations because my parents didn't talk to me about stuff. Because I didn't know about these things, I wasn't prepared for how they actually are in the world. When you grow up being strict, it can be expected that they're not going to tell you about certain things. But we need to talk about these things. We need to be open about these things because I'd I, I'd rather know about some of the stuff and know how to deal with it than not know anything about it, and I have to find out by experiencing it. As someone who didn't get didn't get warned about some of the stuff that revolves around sex and got thrown into through like pornography editions and everything else. I know what it's like to be silent about this, and I know what families go through when they're afraid to talk about this. It puts us in situations where we're not prepared, and we have, we find out about it, and it affects us. It puts us in problems. But things happen in the world. The world is a harsh place, and we need to talk about this to protect the ones we care about because we don't want it to happen to us. So we want to prepare others. So